G'day everyone, thanks for tuning in. Welcome to our new setup. This is the back of the shop that we are at now for our unboxing videos. We were just waiting for a couple of new tables to be built this year, so that's why we didn't do any unboxing in January. Today we're just going to run through all the product that we received in the month of January and February. And we are also going to do a super rad giveaway at the end of the video, so make sure you watch till the end. First new products that we're going to take a look at today are some products from Koyo, the makers of Green Rouge. Everyone's familiar with that chromium oxide compound. When I went to Japan, all the knife sharpeners had a block of this in their corner. We like to use this on the suede side of our leather strops. Gives you a little bit of extra zing and helps polish up that edge. We also received some polishing cloths from Koyo, some stainless steel, general dirt, and copper and brass. We received some polishing compound as well. And just like the cloths, the red label is for cleaning dirt off your knives, your steel. Then we have a stainless steel polishing compound and a copper one. So these are all new products to us. We haven't really tested much of them out at all, and maybe that's another video coming up. So new polishing stuff for all of you people wanting to do restorations on your knives. We're having more products coming in for that kind of stuff. We also received some new rust erasers from Sabaturo. This is, we got all three, coarse, medium, and fine. All right, so we received some brand new Higonokame that we've never had at the shop. That's always exciting because everyone loves Higonokame knives. Higonokame just means short knife, and the Higonokame was introduced in the early 1890s. When some of the families were cut off from making swords, they started making short knives. And the Higonokame, the original ones, are still made by the same family. And Mitseo Nagao is the current blacksmith who makes all the Higo knives from this brand anyway. And we received 4 new shapes, or 3 new shapes, I guess. We had a VG10 Sanmai construction. One of them has a walnut handle, and the other one I think is just magnolia wood that's been dyed, but I'll have to double check on that and put it up on the specs there. We also received these gold-plated Sakamaru tipped Higos. Pretty awesome. These ones are white carbon. And we have some white carbon. They call this one the bamboo leaf because the blade is shaped like a bamboo leaf. Pretty rad. So we're really excited to expand our Higonokame selection. Next up, we received some new knives from Yoshikane out of Sanjo, Japan. Yoshikane is a atelier type setting, and they have seen lots of very awesome blacksmiths come through their ranks, do their apprenticeship there. These knives have very thin little hammer marks on them, kind of Nishiji and Kurochi finished as well. They come with a pagoda handle, which is not something you typically see when you have Yoshikane knives here at the shop. Usually they're branded for Hatsukokuro, but these ones are actually the Yoshikane brand. So we received a little stack of these 150 millimeter petties, as well as the 240 millimeter gyutos. I have a 240 millimeter Yoshikane white carbon steel knife as well that I love using. I think that the Yoshikane are some of the best performing knives at that price point. They typically have very consistent and awesome grinds, very easy to sharpen, and they just have a really awesome reputation. We also received a few copies of some knives from Mizaki-san. And Mizaki is actually one of those blacksmiths that trained at the Yoshikane workshop. And you can kind of see it in he's got a little bit of a French profile going on with his knives. This one is a 210 millimeter Kurochi finish, Sanmai construction. White carbon #2 steel in the core. This is a 210 millimeter Migaki from Mizaki. And then we also received some 240 Kurochi finished. Beautiful taper. They come out really thick out of the handle and taper down super nice to the tip. And they have that nice, really rustic Kurochi finish. And we also got a couple copies of the Migaki finished 240 millimeter Gyuto. Very nicely polished on the spine, and he hand sharpens all of his knives on natural stones before he sends them out. You can see that Kasumi finish, and you can see the little scratches along the edge bevel. These knives are super sharp right out of the box. All right, next up we have some new knives from Sakai Takayuki, or actually a little restock first of all on the 33 layer Damascus Western series. VG10 Tsushimi finish. These knives are very popular, right around that $200 mark. Really good entry-level knives. Very easy to sharpen, durable VG10 steel. Good little entry knives or gateway Japanese knives. Really solid performers, and they have a really good reputation. Sakai Takayuki is one of the larger independent knife companies in Japan, and they're really trusted. They're a really trusted name. They have lots of awesome blacksmiths working for them. So they make everything from stamped factory knives to one-of-a-kind Hanayaki knives. We're introducing a new line of knives from Sakai Takayuki here. This is the ZA18 lineup. And ZA18 is a steel manufactured by the Aki company, I believe. And the Achi company. And this steel is just made to compete with VG10, actually. It's got a high content of cobalt, so it's a pretty tough steel. Pretty easy to sharpen. I think these were rated around 61, 62 on a Rockwell scale, so they'll be having similar edge retention to VG10. And this is the ZA18 Damascus series. They all come with a wenge handle. This was 150 millimeter petty, 165 millimeter Nikiri. We received some 240 millimeter Gyuto from this lineup as well. Pretty good workhorse knife. These are around the 300 range, I think. 350 for this Gyuto. Pretty attractive knife. Make great presents. And we also received some 240 millimeter Tsujihiki meat slicer. And we also have on order the wah-handled version of the 33 layer Damascus. So we just received some 240 millimeter Tsujihikis so far from that order, but we will be receiving the rest of this order this year for another option at around the $200 price range. Okay, next up we are taking a visit to Takefu Knife Village. We received some knives from a few different knife makers from there, so let's get into it. We received our first knives from the Onryu brand. These knives are super popular with the knife collectors. They're really awesome performers. pretty good bang for the buck too, these AS Kurochi finish knives. This is a little 80mm petty. Of course, many of you know Onryu has since retired and left the company to Aikida, who does all the forging. Aikida is famous for making the Tinker Tank and helping Shibata out with the Katetsu lineup. But he does all the forging for the Onryu knives now. So there's the Higonokame Super 90mm petty. Sorry, 75mm petty. We also received some new knives from Shiro Kamo-san. Shiro Kamo is the acting president of Takefu Knife Village and one of the founding members. We have some of his Kurochi finished Higonokame Super knives in right now. And as you notice, there's no handles on there. We kept the handles off because we were getting a fresh batch of custom Wa handles from our friend Dustin soon, as well as our first batch from Joshua from Let's Handle This out of the United Kingdom. So we're excited to see some of his product and attach it to some of our knives here. We're going to attach them to some of our knives. This here is the 210mm Gyuto. First one we took a look at was 180mm Santoku, and we also received some 240mm Gyuto. These are Sanmai construction, ironclad. Really good prices on these knives. And we also have some petty too that I didn't bring out with me, but the petties are like $130 or something. They're really awesome prices. We also received some knives from Yoshimi Kato at a Takefu Knife Village. Kato-san makes awesome knives. I've been using his knives. I had a couple of his knives when I was working as a chef, and I love them, so I was really happy to finally start getting them at the shop. But this is his Higonokame Super Kurochi finish lineup, and I'm not sure if you can see, but there's a little Damascus steel there as well, right along the blade path. That's the 150mm petty. We got also some Bunka 180mm. These ones come with a walnut handle and a 210mm Gyuto. We also received from Kato some 210mm custom Western handled Gyuto. These are his nickel Damascus SG2 knives. Super thin behind the edge, real nice cutters, amazing edge retention, and that custom handle done by the handle maker in Sakai that does a lot of our handles for us. And last but not least, in Takefu Knife Village, we received a little stock up on some 240mm Diamond Damascus R2 Gyuto from Takeshi Saji, another one of the founding members of Takefu Knife Village. Saji-san is in his mid-70s now, I believe, and still churning out beautiful knives. These R2 Diamond Damascus knives have a really nice texture all along the blade face. Definitely lending themselves quite well to food release. All right, moving along to our friends at Hatsukokuro. Hatsukokuro is one of our suppliers based out of Amagasaki, Japan, right outside of Osaka. And we got to visit with them in 2020 when we visited Japan. So we work closely with Hatsukokuro, and they source us lots of different stuff. But here today we're introducing a new line of knives that they have just released. This is the Tsunarishi lineup. Tsunarishi just means sandstorm. And these knives are made with a VG10 core, and they have a really intricate kind of Suminagashi Damascus cladding. They're all mirror polished, so they're kind of hard to photograph, but we are in love with these knives. They're super lightweight, nice and thin, bit of a convex grind to them. This is a 150 millimeter petty. We have put walnut handles on all of these knives. We have also received a 150 millimeter Kiritsuke tipped petty. Beautiful little knives. This is a fun little lineup, actually. This is the 180 millimeter Santoku, super thin. VG10 steel is a knife making steel. I think it gets a bad rap just because a lot of mass-produced knives are made with VG10. But when VG10 is in the hands of a really skilled knife maker, then it's an awesome steel, I believe. And I think these knives are going to go over really well. Really low maintenance. We got some 180 millimeter bunka. You can see that nice shine. It's got a mirror polish. It's a 210 millimeter Kiritsuke tipped gyuto. $210 millimeter gyuto. The 240. We're going to be testing out one of these, one of the 210s as well, because we received a big stack of them. So maybe we'll do a little product review video in a few weeks after we've been trying it for a while. That was a 240 millimeter gyuto, and we also received the 240 millimeter Kiritsuke tipped gyuto. I really like the profile on this one. It's got a nice tall blade. The Kiritsuke tip really lends itself well to dicing smaller things, garlic and shallots, and really works well for scoring vegetables or duck breast. Okay, some more knives from Hatsukokuro. We received some copies of these Yanagibas. This is a 300 millimeter Yanagiba from the Shirasagi series. These knives are forged by Tomu Tamura and sharpened by Moyojin. Beautiful sashimi knife. These are white carbon number 2. We got some with the handles off. We are going to be fitting them up with some custom handles that are coming to the shop next week. And we also have some copies with just the basic wedge handle on there. If you're interested, shoot us a DM. We also received a little stock up on these Kumikaze series, the 180 millimeter Santoku. We also got a stack of these without the handles on them so that we can put some custom handles on and have some more options for customs at the shop. But these are really awesome price point. Forged by Munishi and Tosa. They have a blue carbon number 2 steel core, nice Karochi finish. The edge has been etched with ferric chloride to give it a little bit of extra protection against oxidation. They're ironclad, but I've been using one quite a bit and I haven't had much issues with rusting, or the Karochi finish is kind of lacquered on there as well. So they're definitely not stainless by any means, but they haven't been giving me too many problems for rusting issues. Beautiful little workhorse knives. That was a 210 millimeter gyuto, and then we also received the 240 millimeter gyuto. We have some new knives from Naohito Moyojin. These are knives done entirely by him. Many of you know Naohito Moyojin for his sharpening work with Konosuke and other various companies around Sakai. He is a perfectionist, and whenever we receive knives sharpened by Naohito-san, we love them. They're always perfectly done. This is his SG2 series. I'm starting to see a few of these pop up around in knife shops around North America. A few other people received them, but I think we're the first ones in Canada to get them. They are done perfectly. They have a nice chamfered spine. The cladding line is like perfectly even right along the edge there. SG2 210 millimeter Gyuto has a teak handle, and we also received some copies of the 240 millimeter Gyuto done by Naohito Myojin. Beautiful knives. We have received another new lineup of knives from Hatsukokuro. These are their new wide bevel series. Mystery blacksmith. Maybe someday we'll find out, but right now I don't know who the blacksmith is because they're not sharing that information. Maybe some of you might take a guess at who it is, but this is the new wide bevel, really tall Gyuto from Hatsukokuro. These are blue number 2 steel core, Sanmai construction, 3 layers of steel. They have an ebony and black buffalo horn collar handle. Nicely done. Polished spine, 210 millimeter Gyuto. We also received a beast of a 240 millimeter, very tall. I think it's at around 56 millimeters, but you'll have to check it out online for all the specs. By the time we get this video published, all of these products will be on our website with all of their corresponding specs done. If you guys ever have any questions, make sure you send us a message. All right, next up we have some knives from Satoshi Nakagawa. We received these Yanagiba from our friends at Sakai Kikamori. Satoshi Nakagawa is another one of the super talented blacksmiths that Sakai Kikamori works with. And he is also forging the tuna knives that we carry. But here we have some white number 1 Damascus Yanagiba, Kiritsuke tip Yanagiba. This is a 300 millimeter knife. Beautiful Damascus patterns on there from Nakagawa. We also received a couple 300 millimeter just regular Yanagiba, willow leaf shaped. Beautiful knives. Come with a magnolia handle. We received some of these amazing knives forged by Satoshi Nakagawa and sharpened by Naohito Myojin. These stunning knives are starting to pop up here and there, and we were really lucky enough to grab a little stack of 210 millimeter Gyutos as well as 240 millimeter Gyuto. So we have some that are handleless that are going to be getting some custom handles. And we also have fixed some to some ebony handles for that super classy look. But these are blue number 1 steel core with Nakagawa's beautiful new Damascus patterned cladding. Stunning knives. These are beautifully ground flat right down to the edge. Very easy sharpening. Awesome cutting knives. Quite a collaboration there between Nakagawa and Naohito Myojin. We also have a couple copies of these wide bevel blue carbon knives from Satoshi Nakagawa. Still in stock. A little bit on the beefier side. Nice thick spine. if that's your jam. All right, next up we're going to introduce a few knives from Nigara Hamono. So just a restock on the SG2 240mm Karochi Tsujihiki from one of our favorite lines here at the shop, the SG2 Tsushima Karochi knives from Nigara Hamono are very popular knives. They're amazing cutters, super sharp right out of the box, and made with that beautiful SG2 steel. This one's come fixed with a wenge handle. We received a little stock on some 300mm Sakamaru Yanagiba. These are blue carbon number 2. They come with a Karen wood handle, black buffalo horn collar and end cap. Super cool Sakamaru tipped Yanagiba, meant for that pull slicing motion. We also received some 300mm Kiritsuke tipped Yanagiba from the Anmon Kurizome series. Beautiful knives. And we have another left-handed 330mm Kiritsuke tipped Yanagiba in stock now. This one has a ebony handle and buffalo horn collar. We are also lucky enough to receive 3 of these amazing little Yusubas. They are super cool and not your typical Yusuba. Pretty thin comparatively on the spine and real thin behind the edge compared to other Yusubas, more traditional Yusuba. But Yusuba is just a single-edged vegetable knife, kind of like a Nakiri, but just sharpened on one side. And you'll see apprentice Japanese chefs rolling out long sheets of daikon radish with this style of a knife, meant for intricate vegetable work and garnish work. One of them is sold already, so we have 2 of these left. And these are real special, I think. These are some of my favorite Yusubas that I've ever seen. Beautiful Damascus patterns on there. And last but not least, we received one of our Troll Killer Gyutos that we ordered. We have a few on order, but this is the first Gyuto Troll Killer that we've had at the shop. The Troll Killer has 250 plus layers of steel, all hand forged by Mr. Yoshizawa-san, the head blacksmith at Nigara, who has taken over and is just making waves in the knife making community. This guy is super talented, and these Troll Killers are highly sought after. We will be dropping this knife on the website, possibly on Saturday or Sunday night. We will definitely send out an email and inform everyone exactly when this knife is getting dropped. I know there's a few people out there that have been waiting for them, and I thought this is just the most fair way to go about it. We'll do a website drop. We'll inform you all about it. Here it is. 240mm Troll Killer, Agame number 2. Has a snakewood handle, white buffalo horn end cap and collar, and silver spacers. Just a beautiful piece of artwork, functional artwork. Incredible knife. We are also doing a giveaway for our very first video of the year, and also as a little celebration because we have a new employee starting this week who's helping us out with these YouTube videos. So in celebration of that, we're giving away this custom handled camo shiro, 150mm Agame Super Karochi finished petty. Basically, all you have to do to enter this competition is please leave a comment down below about what you'd like to see moving forward. We are going to be pushing out some more YouTube content, and we want to make it as relevant and useful as possible for you guys. So we want to know exactly what you want to see, what topics are pressing, how do you fix the tip of a knife, how do you grind out these chips, how do you rectify this steel, these rusting issues, anything. Just let us know what you want to know about your knives or whetstones or mandolins or whatever. We're going to just try to make some relevant content for y'all. So drop a comment. We'll be selecting the winner with our next YouTube unboxing, probably in about 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Yeah, until then, thank you guys for watching. We appreciate your support. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe and all that stuff.